Hi everyone, it's me again. I'm Claudya Hutabarat, MBA regular student at IPMI International Business School 2021. Here's the second edition of my mind mapping video. I'm here to mind map about my learning journey in the global economic and international business class taught by Professor Sembel and Ibu Dr. Yulita PhD. Using this mind map, I will try to explain the learning process and things that were really useful for me to understand what makes up a global economic and international business. May you enjoy the content and do not forget to leave likes and comments down below because that will mean a lot to me. At IPMI, I studied global economics and international business for 8 weeks. The course were broke down to different topics each week. Studying both global economics and international business allows me to see how globalization has brought an increasing connectedness of business, markets, people, and information across countries. It enables me to learn the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and risks of doing business in this global era, which is beneficial for me in both my professional and personal knowledge. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right in at business. It started far before the first revolution industries. So before the first revolution industries, the word GDP is dominated by Asian countries with giant populations, namely China and India. And in 8 centuries, countries like UK, the US, and other Western countries began to rise and dominated the world GDP following the first industrial revolution by introducing the utilization of machinery and equipment, which create a huge transition in manufacturing process. But since 2018 until this day, we can see so many new global players, including Asian countries like Japan, China, and India, which are the part of the 5 biggest GDP in the world, and it is expected to continue in the next 10 years. When we talk about the global economy, we have to talk about the global trade. Global trade is the exchange of goods and services between countries. In economics and international trades, there are 2 important concepts that you should understand, which is the first one is the absolute advantage and then the comparative advantage. Why? Because they largely influence how and why nations and business devote resources to the production of particular goods. Absolute advantage is the ability of an actor to produce more of a good or service than the competitor. Meanwhile, comparative advantage is the ability of an actor to produce a good or service with a lower opportunity cost, which is becoming more efficient than the competitor. To do the global trade, we also need to understand the concept of tariff and quota. Tariff is a tax on import, while quota is a physical limitation on imports quantity. But which one is better between tariff and quota? Actually, tariff is better because it has more economic impact attached to it compared to quota. But the similarities between quota and tariff is that both can reduce imports. For any quota, there's a tariff equivalent. And both can increase domestic price and reduce the domestic consumption, also increase the domestic production. And then still relates to the global trade, there are a couple of international opportunities we could explore. The first is the investment opportunities, which is when the marginal return on MNC projects are above those of purely domestic projects. Why? Because MNC presented a set of expanded opportunities that's available to select. While financing opportunities, which MNC can obtain capital funding at a lower cost due to their large opportunity and a set of funding sources around the world. The second part of global economic is the international finance, which consists of the international financial management and international environment. International financial management has sets of tasks such as the first one is to manage currency risk, manage diversity of international accounting and tax practice, choose the capital structure, raise funds for firm, working capital and cash flow, and then the capital budgeting. Meanwhile, the international taxation as part of the financial management is to deal with direct tax, indirect tax, and the sales tax. As part of the monetary and financial environment, there's something called the monetary system and global financial system. In the international monetary system, it's the institutional frameworks and rule which national currency are exchanged between one another. Meanwhile, global financial system is like the collection of the financial institution that facilitates and regulates the flow of investment and capital funds worldwide. This includes the national and international banking system, international bonds market, and the national stock market. There are several issues that are happening in the global business and economy. One of the notable historical events in the global economy is the subprime mortgage crisis that took place in the US, but quickly affecting global economy and contributing to the one of the most severe recession in the decades. The subprime mortgage crisis in 2007 until 2010 stemmed from an early expansion of mortgage credit. And with that, the housing boom in the middle of 2000s is combined with low interest at the time, prompted many lenders to offer home loans to individuals with poor credit. When the real estate bubble burst, many borrowers were unable to make payments on their subprime mortgages. Although the subprime meltdown began with the housing market, the shock waves led to the financial crisis and massive sell-offs in the market. As you know, the Wall Street began to melt down, and then the failure of the Lehman Brothers. So if we're looking at this, we can identify at least 4 ways that comes with international business. The first one is the cross-cultural risk. And then the second one is the commercial risk. Third one is country risk. And then the fourth one is currency and financial risk. As a part of a global economy, we also learn about the globalization. Globalization is the process by which business or other organization develop international influence or start operating on an international scale. Globalization has its positive and negatives. Some of the positive is that it increases the wealth of the nation, generates liberal market flexibility, and advances in economics. But we also know that globalization, unfortunately, can also increase wage gaps, generate inequality within, between, and among nations, and also eliminate jobs, lower wage, and then exploit workers. Also, we learned about the new economy, which is an old economy combined with technology and digitalization, capital mobility, and the liberalization that forces driving globalization, technological innovation. For example, is the Industrial Revolution. There are 3 main pillars of the new economy. The first one is the cost reduction. And then the second one is that the customer can have a better choice, which is customer can contact company in 20 hours, better customer service as well. And the third one is from the macroeconomic point of view, that there will be tougher competition and also greater transparency. The rise of the new economy is resulting in more faster interaction and transaction, the globalization and localization. And then the third one is the unbundling and reassembling business organization, government, and financial instruments. To be successful in international business, we definitely should have an international strategy. International strategy consists of home replication, multi-domestic, global, and transnational. Aside from this strategy, we also have to understand that there is the difference in culture. There should be at least 4 dimensions of cultures that we know, which is power distance, individualism versus collectivism, uncertainty avoidance, and then masculinity. This dimension can differ from one country to another, which we have to really take a note if we would like to get involved in the international business. So international business is also there to help to create a global standardization and adaptation for cross-country in doing their business, not just in terms of trade, but also in terms of the labor standard. In this class, we also analyze the series of events that happen in the international business, like trade wars, global pandemic, digital era, green and climate issue, also the Russia-Ukraine war. Last thing we learned in the class is also about the scalability of business activity, which move from domestic level to international level to multinational business, and finally move to global business. On the globalization process, we also learned that there is a strategic part of foreign market entries, which is export and import, licensing, strategic alliance, and also joint venture. So that topic is also the end of this mind map, which filled of things that I learned from the past 2 months from Professor Sembel and Dr. Yulita. It surely has been an interesting learning journey for me, but I know that outside from this class, there are so many aspects of the global market and international business that I need to explore in order to keep up with the world that keeps evolving and changing. But for now, I would like to thank you for watching my video. Do not forget to leave comments and thumbs up. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.